when everybody is born, we are born with a clean slate. When a child is born, we call that concept, it was postulated by John Locke in the 17th century. We call that concept tabula rasa. That is...
Hey, wait. What do you call it?
Tabula rasa. You see, I love this audience. Clap for yourself.
Oh, you know it? I know the Bible. Tabula rasa. That's good. Even saying that, you can free you from depression.
Right. So we call that concept tabula rasa. Tabula rasa is saying, John Locke postulated that when a child is born, thank you very much. When a child is born, that child is born with a clean, look at that clean sheet of paper. The mind is born, when a child is born blank. There is nothing on that person's mind. So that child, opens his or her eyes after he's born and sees two strange people smiling. So that child, and then when that continues on a consistent basis, the child learns to smile. He smiles, so it mirrors the environment. So we are a product of our environment. You see why you need to create your environment? So you're a product of your environment. Everything you've got to, everything you're learning, everything you have become as a product of what you've picked up. So our minds are like sponges. We are just sponging everything. Somebody has not spoken to you before, but you've learned something from that person. You see somebody wear something, and you've not even said hello, but that person has touched you. You sponged something. So the concept of tabula rasa is saying that you're learning from your environment. So you were not born to be a liar. You learned to lie. You were not born to fidget and live in unbelief. You learned unbelief. So everything you learned can be unlearned.
Everything you learned can be unlearned. That it wasn't forced on you in that sense.
It wasn't forced on you. You picked it. So the way you picked your eating habit, why do you love amala? You love amala because we were born in Nigeria. If you were born in America, you love something else.
That's true.
So we actually are a product of environment. So you develop certain habits. You began to sleep in a particular way for certain reasons.
Mattress that you had
because of the kind of maybe you didn't even have a mattress growing up. So you see some people, irrespective of how big the bed is, they will still sleep.
Yes, me. Yes.
Because we're sharing the bed with maybe 4 people.
Hey. Why do you eat the meat after the
food?
Why? I mean, you reserve. Why don't you start with the meat?
Absolutely. So you see, these are habits. These are habits that we picked up growing up and all of that. So the same way you develop these habits, you also developed what we call mental health habits.
Okay, like thinking patterns.
Yes, so you develop these patterns. So, for example, you learned how to get angry like the speed of light. You learned it. So this is a habit. So coping skills, which are mental health habits, can be learned. So, a very good example. Everybody say after me, repression. Now, repression, for example, is what we call a mental defense mechanism.
A mental defense mechanism.
That's mental defense are the defenses in your mind that you use in blocking out or taking away any painful event. So repression, for example, is a technique used by so many people around the world. This is a situation where you choose to forget a painful experience. So you find something you find it mentally draining. Maybe you lose someone, you lost a job, something painful, an event, a life event. We talked about stressors. You were asking about triggers. So when you now take that trigger or a stressor, rather than deal with it, you push it down into your subconscious mind.
But it's there.
It didn't go away.
But it's there. Okay.
You now continue this way from age 3. Because we come to a place of consciousness at age 3. So you keep piling this up irrespective of the fact that it doesn't
Repressing
matter if you're a psychologist or a psychiatrist, you might have the knowledge, but you might not implement it. That's why knowledge is meant from understanding. Knowledge is when you know, understanding is when you do. So, thank you. So you take all of those events, you keep pushing it down, you keep pushing it down, you keep pushing it down until your tank is full.
Okay, it gets to a level where it overflows out.
Yes. And then your cup begins to run over, and then the person breaks down.
Things that people say, why is
Absolutely. Absolutely.
is it deliverance that how do you do that? Because it's been there for so long, 20 years, 30 years.
So I teach a concept called mental detoxification.
Mental
Detoxification.
toxification.
Yes. So you detox your body, you want to clear out your system. Some people take green tea, some people do water therapy, some take herbs just because you want to flush it. Some people take okpaeni because they want to detox and all of that. Some people, use antioxidants, But as much as we do this for our physical body, we carry around a lot of mental junk.
Yes, a lot.
And we don't flush it out. So we're saying that what are the habits for your mental health that you have picked up, and is detoxification one of your routine?
You normally
Flushing it out. Some flush out with the word of God, some flush out with physical affirmation. But first, you must understand your personality. Are you a visual person? A visual person is someone who is moved by pictures, who what they see affects them a lot.
Yes.
They rather not see something.
Okay.
If they hear about it, they are not moved. But when they see it, those are people that if you want to teach them, if you don't have an audiovisual, whatever, they don't really get the total picture. They might hear you, but they don't have a total picture of it. So if you're a visual person, for example, you want to begin to have what we call the vision board, and you want to have on your screensaver, you want to have a picture of the ideal.
What you desire.
What you desire. You want to run away from things that trouble you, things that you want to avoid things like that as much as possible. If you're an auditory person, that is someone who, sponges as a reason of what they hear. For example, I am an auditory person. I'm particular about words. So some people are particular about words, people's choice of words. So when you say certain things to them, you see they take it in a different way, and you're wondering, why are you overreacting? That person is an auditory person. So the person is particular about sound. The person is particular about
tone of voice.
Yes, tone of voice. So the person, you say you're shouting. And you wonder, I'm not shouting, but to that person you're shouting. Because the person is particular about pitch. Something resonates with Pastor.
I preach a lot, so when I'm talking at times, my voice goes up.
So if you're an auditory person, you want to do a recording of an affirmation for yourself
on your phone. Like you say some things
in your own voice. So you do what we call self-affirmation. So you record it and you use that as your alarm every morning.
Ooh, don't you like that? I'm a Superman.
Oh yes. So you say it, and we have been, sir, let me quickly say that we have been taught to praise God. When you say just give God all the praise, give him all the worship, we know the right things to say to God. But when it comes to ourselves, you say, Emike, Nami they talk. So you believe that you hear certain testimonies and you believe that, it's for them. That can only happen to them. It's not coming close here.
Wow.
They are not for people like us. You go, you do a training, or you listen to some message, from the altar, and you say, Pastor, that is a church, but let us go to the real world. What is the real world? The real world is what you call it. The real world is what you have created for yourself.
Wow. Thank you. Have you learned a lot? Amazing. So people need new pictures.
Yes, for visual people, auditory
What
people
about
need
kinesthetic people?
kinesthetic people that are feelers. So you want to ensure that your environment is top notch.
How do that?
So because we feel aura, we feel our environment. So for example, you want to be particular about your clothes. You want to be particular about the colors in your house.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to be particular about that. You want to be particular about, the way you feel when a particular person is talking to you. There are certain people that rub you off on the wrong side. There's just something about them. You just see, you're struggling. So as a kinesthetic person, that would affect you a lot. A visual person, it might not really affect the person. So you need to understand the kind of personality you have. So, and I teach greatly on what we call the self-concept, understanding you. So the Priscilla, that this physical vessel is not Priscilla. The Priscilla is the voice you hear. That is a representation of my spirit, and my spirit is me. So you want to really define and understand who you are. That's what we call self-concept. I teach on the theory of self-concept. You need to understand your person. You need to understand what defines you. You say to someone, "Who are you?" And he says, "Oh, I'm Priscilla Benjamin Olaye." That's not you. Who really are you? If you don't understand who you are, people will tell you what you are not.
Find you in their
and
own.
define who you are not.
When you mentioned mental health earlier, it's something that in Africa people are scared of. When they hear mental health, it looks like somebody has a mental problem. So can we just talk about that a bit on mental health, and then you help as we close in this particular service on situational depression and clinical
depression. Thank you, sir.
Health, yeah.
Okay, so let me start from the last question and then I go to the other. So situational depression is a situation, where someone goes through a stressful environment and stressful event, and then the person begins to exhibit certain symptoms of depression. So symptoms of depression could include loss of appetite. The person is not eating. It could involve lack of sleep. We call that insomnia. The person loses sleep both during the day and at night. The person begins to lose weight. The person could also, now not all of the symptoms, basically just like malaria, it presents differently in different people. The person begins to lose interest in things that usually would interest him or her. So the person, for example, would not, wants to be in isolation. The person could go through what we call mutism. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. Mutism, you just mute, he's not talking to anybody. And you see, there are different variations. But the difference with situational depression is that when that person has been able to deal with that, when that thing is over, it should go.
It should move on, at least.
It should go.
It's not permanent, so to say.
It's not permanent, unlike clinical depression.
Okay.
So clinical depression could be triggered by a lot of things. It could be biological. It could be triggered by a lot of things. But that is a situation where the person gets better, and then after a while, the person would break down again when the stressor is reintroduced, shows up.
Is it safe to say that some people are just going through situational?
It's very possible.
Depression,
it's very possible.
Don't take it as a lifetime.
Not a lifetime thing. Another one is postpartum depression.
Postpartum, okay.
That is the depression after delivery.
Okay, what triggers that? Is it just delivery or?
You see, the major, no, medically, I'm not talking spiritually. Professionally, we say that people go through depression because of a brain chemical. Is usually very low at the time, and that brain chemical is called serotonin.
Serotonin.
Yes, sir.
It's low after delivery.
It's present in all of us.
Yes.
But for people who go through postpartum depression, it goes to a very low level after delivery, and then they could have postpartum depression. But for anyone who has depression, usually we say that is based on low level of serotonin. That's why most antidepressants walk around. Yes, so we have different types of antidepressants. but most of the time they work around the brain chemical called serotonin. And there are things that you could do to boost your serotonin
Your radio
level.
program is on Mondays, right? On
Yes,
Mondays,
sir. Every Monday. Radio Continental,
8 p.m.
102.3, 8 p.m. every Monday.
Radio Continental, as she speaks on health,
Mental health. It's called Your Mind and You with Priscilla.
Okay, please, you can enjoy that for free. And we put our hands together for Priscilla. But by the way, that means many of us are not depressed. And that you are in a low mood is because you didn't eat well yesterday. Don't make it look like, and for some people, maybe it's just situational. And from the things we've been teaching, I'm hoping that we're going to handle the situation better and then you move on. If it's clinical, I trust that we'll have victory. And if you need counsel or some therapy, you can also get to them. The fees are not out of this world. If you're spending money on your mental health, it's more important than many, many other things.